Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel. Gunter Schlierkamp is the only bodybuilder who has defeated Ronnie Coleman between 1998 and 2006. At the show Strength in 2002, Gunter produced probably the biggest upset in bodybuilding history, defeating the reigning 5-time Mr. Olympia at the time, Ronnie Coleman. A few weeks prior to this show, at the 2002 Mr. Olympia, which Ronnie controversially won, Gunter took 5th place, but until this day there are still people who claim Gunter was robbed for the title that year. In this video, we're gonna compare these incredible two versions of Gunter Schlierkamp to see where he was at his best of all time. And we begin with the first pose, the front double biceps. To the left we have the Olympia version and to the right we have the show strength version that defeated Ronnie Coleman and caused him his only defeat in 8 years. As we can see here, these two versions are very close in terms of mass and conditioning. Gunter was a huge man weighing 300 pounds at this level of conditioning on stage, standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, dwarfing even Ronnie Coleman when standing side by side. Gunter had powerful peaky biceps and very good wheels. He had a pretty wide midsection though. In the show strength peak he sucks in his midsection, but in his case it doesn't necessarily look better. Unfortunately for the lat spread at the Mr. Olympia, this is what we have available, his peak being taken from an angle. We can only assume, based on what we've seen in the previous pose, that they look similar again. Gunter had a powerful front lat spread pose, making use of that wide structure and great lats. Yet again, we cannot draw a conclusion on which version was superior in this pose. Up next is the side chest pose, and we don't have a full body peak for the show strength version. They look pretty similar, but in these specific shots, he's got different approaches for the pose. At the Olympia, he flexed his pec to the extent where he's got that striation, and in his case, it looks better in my opinion. Usually I prefer a rounder and fuller chest like he has at the show strength, but in this case, I repeat, I think I prefer his Olympia execution. Back double biceps, and here is where the differences start to be more obvious, especially in the lower body through the glutes and hams. It's known that during the prep, last muscle group that loses water is the glutes, and he definitely has more striated glutes at the show strength. Him being drier might also be the reason why upper body, the Olympia version, looks fuller. All in all, I believe this is an obvious win for the show strength version. When everything else is very close, conditioning makes the difference. As for the rear lat spread, I'm not sure if it's about the way he was holding the pose, but it looks like we're looking at two completely different bodybuilders here. He is so much bigger and more conditioned at the show strength. Just like for the back double, his glutes are drier and more striated. However, upper body the differences are more obvious this time. He looks both bigger and drier. Side triceps, and from the side the differences vanish again. However, he's got a way better execution at the Olympia, where he also holds his stomach in check better. We don't have a full body picture for the show strength, but for what we can see here, aside for the better approach with the execution at the Olympia, both versions look pretty good. Abs and thighs, and aside for the camera angle difference, yet again he looks pretty much the same in this pose. With maybe better quads for the Olympia. It looks like at the Olympia he's got some feathering through the quads I cannot see for the show strength version. But he might have not flexed his quad in the moment the shot was taken, I don't know. It's pretty close again. Last pose is the most muscular. We have two different variations available, two different variations of the pose. that Mr. Olympia Most Muscular showcasing one tricep might not be the best choice for Gunter. As the Dominator once said, he's not a Kevin Levroni to showcase that body part in this pose. I prefer his show of strength execution, even though he looks pretty good at the Olympia as well. In conclusion, based on these available photos, he looked more or less the same at these two shows, with the big differences being at the back department, where in both poses, the superiority of the show strength version was more than obvious, at least for me. So I would give a small advantage to this version, the version that actually beat Ronnie Coleman. But that brings the questions. Was this small improvement so obvious that made the judges give him the win over Ronnie? Was Ronnie so much worse at the show strength than at the Olympia, or was this the judges' way to admit that they were wrong, giving Gunter 5th at the Olympia? Let me know down in the comment section your opinion. Also like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you guys and see you next time.